Hello, welcome pen friends. Today I'm choosing one ink in each brand. If I could only choose one, which one would it be? Very similar to what I did with fountain pens a few days ago. I love doing stuff like this because it totally revives my interest in everything I already have, which is super, super timely for me right now. Being on, more of a budget than usual. And what I'm going to do, I have 23 ink brands, and then I have one special category, I called it. You might call it cheating, because I'll show you why when we get to the pen desk. And then I also allowed myself one category for black ink. In other words, I may have broken the one per brand with those, but there's a technicality, so I'm allowing myself those two exceptions. And then the other two exceptions I'm allowing is that this is all about bottled ink except for two. So there is one LAMY and one Birmingham where I don't have a full bottle of it, but you'll see why. And I think I'll be able to explain that for you. And as we go, I'll try to do like I did with the pens. I'll try to explain, like why it's my favorite. The other thing I will say is that color representation was on my mind a lot while I was doing this. And so if it came down to, two or three, sometimes it was like a no-brainer, like it's absolutely one rises to the top, and no matter what, that would be the one. But sometimes it might have to do with, do I even have a green ink? And would I want to walk away with just this collection without a teal or whatever? So that, that did influence me, but I think that's okay. I think that's part of the fun, of trying to kind of narrow it down. And, it's all for fun. It's not like I'm probably ever going to have to do this. In fact, I was realizing as I was doing this that there's no way I could take all these even in an evacuation for a hurricane. So I believe I could find a way to take quite a few pens, but ink takes up a lot more room and it's breakable and it could cause a riot in the vehicle or whatever. So yeah. So the other thing to keep in mind, especially if you're new here, I'm a former ink reviewer, so I've seen hundreds of samples, and I have hundreds of samples that I work in my way through. But I kind of left those out pretty much because what you see in my bottled collection is the ones I couldn't resist, from inks that I've reviewed, from inks that I've encountered over the years, over the past 7 to 8 years. So I think it's a pretty good representation of what I really love. But I will say this, there were a couple of, brands that I almost did but didn't do because, like one, for instance, I only had one bottle of, and it's not my absolute favorite ink ever, so I left that out, even though I like it a lot. And then there's some brands that I kind of was attempted to do, even though I've only done little samples, but I don't feel like that's really representative yet. And I'm thinking about Dominant Industries and Van Diemen's, and there's a couple more. I actually did do Vinta because I couldn't leave this house without that one, I guess, under ordinary circumstances. I don't mean if the house was on fire or whatever, but okay. So then there's one more thing I wrote down, and that is I did fail to pick two colors, so I'm still kind of going over that in my mind, but it's hard to decide. And by the time I got to this point, I had made my selections and I'm kind of really happy with my selections, so it's like, where am I going to find a gold ink or a maroon ink in these brands? So those are two that, well, there's one that kind of qualifies, and we'll talk about that. And also, I think I pulled out some tiles of the really close calls, but we'll go over to the pen desk and I'll show you some little glimpses in my ink journal from the past, and then we'll look at each bottle and tile. I thought about doing writing samples with each one, but it would be such a long video. So I'm thinking that if I do that, it's going to be separate. It'll be a little project where that's what I cover. And really, I think I'd rather spend the time linking some of my currently inked and my progress reports that included these inks, because these are inks that show up a lot. And so this is kind of a what I would call a for fun project, and I think it tends to be something where I really want to see what other people say. So I want to put mine out there because these things catch on and other people will be covering. Well, Waringal is another brand and Conklin. I have samples in those areas. I haven't fully explored them yet, but these that I'm going to talk about, they've been in my life for quite a while. So let's move over to the pen desk and we'll see what we got. Okay, we're diving right in with the first one, and the first one is Pilot Iroshizuku Azalea, and I just don't believe I could be without this ink if there was a choice and an ability to have it with me. Ever since I started using it, it's just a gorgeous pink, and I love it. I love it so much. It's got shading and some sheen, and it's got the flow that I love, but the color's what always gets to me. And I used up the first thing I did was use up I guess they come in, let's see what those are, they're 15 mil or something. Let's see, oh goodness. I used one up of this size, 15 mil, yeah. And then I just realized I had to have a bottle, and I'm already I'm working on this big bottle. So this was my first choice. It was the first brand that even came into my mind. So that's the first one. And next up we have Diamine. And this is surprising, and yet this is it for me. The Oxford blue is my blue black. And, there is another blue in Diamine, which is Aqua Lagoon, that I just love. But I really prefer writing with the Oxford blue. It's so dark and lovely, and I just would rather, it came down to this one, really. And I have a lot of Diamine inks, but this is one that I've had. This is my second bottle, and oh my goodness, it's just, I love it. The flow is so good that I often use it in pens just to see how they write, without any question. So, okay, and then next up is Robert Oster. Robert Oster Tranquility. Now, that was a little bit difficult too, and that's putting it mildly, because there's several of theirs that I love. But when it came to another category, which was Colorverse, I started to compare, what am I choosing, and am I going to even get a teal, because, geez, I really love Colorverse Gravity Wave, but the only green I love is also in Colorverse, so we'll get to that one in a minute. But, yeah, I love this. Oh, Coco, no. Oh dear, my cat Coco, he's determined to be in the video, and he just kind of wants to do it on his terms. So anyway, I've used a lot of this ink. I love it. I especially love it in my little Moonman Mini with either a broad nib or a stub nib. And it's just gorgeous. It's shading deluxe, and it's a nice flow too. I really love this ink. So that was my choice. Okay, next up is J.R. Bond. Probably won't surprise you if you've been around here. It is the Amethyste de Laurel in the 1798 line. It's a shimmer ink with silver shimmer, and it is so nice. In a LAMY fine nib even, I get such good flow, and it just, it lays down the shimmer nicely. You don't lose anything, I don't think, in flow. I've been known to take my favorite notes, like on stoicism and things like that, with this ink. And this was a real luxury ink. Probably, yeah, the most expensive mentioned so far, let's put it that way. But I really love it. And it's got a little bit of water resistance. It's got that beautiful shimmer. Shimmer inks are not my top kind of inks, but this one that's an exception. So there we have it. Next is KWZ. And this one I really went to effort to get, because I ordered it from the Netherlands. It is KWZ Standard Monarch, and it's like a burnt orange almost. It's pretty bright on the screen and may have lightened up the tile a little here, but it's just gorgeous. It's got super flow, and I don't necessarily always go for a bright Halloween pumpkin orange, but I like it when it's got like a burned orange look to it. And this just, the moment I had the sample of this, which was generously given to me by a pen friend, I knew that if it ever came back in stock and I knew about it, I was going to order it irregardless. So yeah, that was an expensive venture too, but I just love it and it's worth it. Okay, so then the next brand is Monteverde. Monteverde. So my choice is Purple Rain. I have used up the larger, let's see, what are those larger Monteverde? Oh, I don't know, 85 mil, something like that. I used up a complete one and I decided, well, I've got an awful lot of ink, so I decided to order a 30 mil instead of the larger, because that way I could distribute my purple madness across several different brands. But this has mega shading and it has superior flow, and it's one of those bright colors that makes me happy, and that's a theme I think in a lot of my choices here. So oh boy, that was not really difficult, although I do like Monteverde California Teal a lot. But okay, then next up was Colorverse. Colorverse is the one where it fulfills my green color that I really love, and it's Supernatural. And it's just gorgeous. It's that brightness, but enough readability for me. So I really love it. And I had a hard time finding this, and I think it was Choupei that I finally found it at, a bottle. And so I was thrilled to find it. Well, I managed to get myself green, and because I was trying to just, I don't know, fiddling with this bottle. Oh my gosh. Oh, something's really going wrong with it. That's too bad. I'm going to have to stop playing with it till after the video. But I love this ink, and I sure hope I haven't cracked a bottle or popped a gasket or anything. Let me put it back, because that is rather startling. Yeah, and I am green now. I am green. Wow, I don't know what happened unless the lid was on wrong or something. Anyway, this is a real favorite. So that's my Colorverse choice, and I've seen quite a few Colorverse, even though most of my Colorverse bottles are kind of small like this, the 15 mil ones. I only had 2 full-sized bottles, and the other one was Gravity Wave, which was hard not to choose that, but I needed to choose the green. And so that's what I was talking about when I said that sometimes color would sway me one way or another. So this is one of the exceptions where I don't own a full bottle, but this is the LAMY Dark Lilac 2016, and I can't not mention this. A pen friend gave me a generous sample of this, and I kind of ration it to myself, and I love it. You know, I did find out that Diamine Pansy is great. So it comes very, very close in a nib. And so that makes me happy. And I'm not going to die without it, you know, without the original, because you really just can't. You just can't go there, because they're not making it the same anymore. But there are some really pretty similarities. But I think just to be honest, this is my favorite LAMY ink ever. So... And, you know, I have, let's see, 2 other bottles of LAMY ink and several samples. So I hope I'm not going to get, like, green all over everything. No, I guess not. It looks pretty hideous. But okay, so the next brand is Ferris Wheel Press. And I have that one in my little homemade rig so that it won't fall over, because they tend to fall over. But I think we'll be okay, except for when it's on the edge of my desk. I got to be careful. So Ferris Wheel Press, my favorite is Algonquin Maple, which kind of comes across the camera as red, but it's kind of like a, you know, when you get a crayon or when you were a kid and it was like orange red or something like that? That's how I see this. And it really, really evokes the beautiful maple leaf color that, you know, I grew up with in Vermont. So I love this. And Ferris Wheel Press inks, they just flow so well, and this one's no exception. And it's highly readable. It flows really well. I love it. I'll be sorry when it runs out, but, you know, it will someday, and then I'll be looking for a very similar color, I guess. Okay, so next is Cross brand, and I chose Cross Violet. And keep this in mind for later, because this is one of the cheaters, I guess, that I did. But Cross Violet is so gorgeous, and it's a stunning color, and it just writes so well. I love this for my Opus 88 in purple. It's like a permanent pairing, although I don't have it inked up constantly. And this is a good price ink too, but I love it to death. And it's the color. I mean, really, that's the why on almost all of these, I think. Okay, next up is TWSBI. And TWSBI inks, you know, they haven't been around even as long as I have in the hobby, but this is a gorgeous ink. And I love the fact that you can still get it, and it's a TWSBI Royal Purple, and I feel like it rivals another favorite, which will come up much later down the line, but it's way cheaper. So, and this is my second bottle, so that tells me something. And it flows superiorly, and the color is gorgeous. And I think color and flow are my main things, really. But this is a beautiful, beautiful color. Okay, so then next up is Sailor. Now this was a little bit harder, but but I just can't help it. At least today anyway. It's Sailor 50 States, Texas. This brown is my new favorite brown, really. I have to be honest, it really is. And I now have another bottle, so I'm like gonna breathe. I'm gonna be okay. Let's see, I can't remember what the size is. Let's see. Oh, 20 mil. Okay, so it does come with 20 mil. And this was running out, so I was panicky. But a pen friend so generously sent me another bottle, and that was just such a stunning surprise. And thank you very much for that. This has shading, and it has just, this is absolutely more flowy than even some of the other inks I've talked about. But it's my favorite brown. It's just it's a couple of shades darker, I think, than SBRE brown, but it's in that same, all you do is just kind of dial up the saturation, I guess, but it's beautiful, just beautiful. I love it. Okay, so next is Pelikan Edelstein. Okay, and that, my choice for that is Star Ruby. I haven't had this bottle for very long, but I had a couple samples. And this is, here we go with another pink, but I love it. And I think I might have been a little swayed because one of my favorite YouTubers loves this ink too. And I thought, okay, this person loves broad nibs and have this superior like knowledge of all these inks and everything. So when I revisited my sample and started putting it in my broad, my broad TWSBI nibs, the TWSBI Go, I realized I have to have a bottle before it like goes away. I think this might have been 2017. Oh, I might be wrong on that. It's one of their ink of the years, but I don't remember which year. And it's stunning. It's stunning. I get good shading. I get really good flow, even though sometimes people say Pelikan inks are dry. And I've seen that before, but maybe because I'm using the broad nibs for it, I don't have any problem at all with it. Oh, I love it. I'm so glad I got that before I went on a crazy budget. But anyway, okay, so the next brand is Rohrer and Klingner. And Rohrer and Klingner, it is Solferino. It used to be Cassia, Rohrer and Klingner Cassia, but I kind of got another dark purple that replaced, replaced the top spot for me. But this is gorgeous. I mean, it's just, it's fantastic. And this isn't, I haven't had the bottle very long. I had some samples and ran right through those. And oh, don't you love how the green and the well, I guess you could call this fuchsia or magenta. I'm really bad with color. I really am. But all I know is when I see this, it makes me happy. And it's super good in the Banu broad nibs. Oh boy. So I know exactly where I'm going to be using it up in those. So, okay. Next up is Diatramentis. Okay. I don't have this. This may be the only bottle ink that I have in Diatramentis, but I've tried several samples. And this was a pen friend gift, but I had used, I don't know how many samples. I wonder why I didn't purchase a bottle soon, myself. But it's Diatramentis Alexander Hamilton, and it's super nice and dark. And I don't know whether this one ended up probably replacing or not replacing, but it took the top spot between this one and Amethyste de Laurel, they're my favorite dark purples, really. So I love it. And you can still see that it's purple, and it has a little bit of water resistance, so it's fantastic. Okay, so the next brand is Waterman, and I have not had this too long, but I'm crazy about it. And it's Waterman Serenity Blue. And it surprised me. I actually got it because a viewer said that it would be a perfect ink to test out pens that I wasn't sure of. And I always love to have another ink that's good for that. And it's totally blew me away. Just based on this, you know, the tile, I thought, well, okay, I've seen quite a few of those. But oh, wow, in a nib, it's just fantastic. I have it in my Jinhao X159 right now that I'm testing the new medium nib out with. And I even have it in another pen. I think it's that 9019. And it indeed is a great ink to try things out with. But I also like it. It's not too washed out. It's nice and dark. Actually, to me, it's darker than it's appearing here. But okay, so the next brand is Birmingham. And I have had lots and lots of samples of Birmingham, but the one that never leaves my mind, and this is that second exception there where this is a bottle, but it's one that I put together with samples of the old Birmingham Allegheny River Twilight, and I put right on there old. So this is kind of special because when it's gone, but it's that dusty purple, and you know, I have others. I've got Robert Oster Muddy Crown, I think it is. And there's a few others too, but this one just, it's captured me, that's all. And I'm really glad that I have, I don't know how much, maybe 10 mil left or something like that. And it's my choice for Birmingham, even though I can think of a few others. And I used to have a bottle of Birmingham Pop Art Purple, which is beautiful, but I think I used it up, and I'm not sure. They probably are still making that, but I'm not positive about that. But this is kind of an exception in these colors too, because it's probably maybe the lightest or the dustiest color, but I like it a lot. So okay, and then next up is Bungubox, which this is another one where it's the only bottle I have, but I've tried some other in their line, and this is my favorite. It's the Bungubox Lamont. And it cost a pretty penny, and I'm glad I already have it because I wouldn't have it if I didn't already have it. But it's got just mega shading. It's fantastic. And it flows really well too. But I think it's that just incredible shading that gets me, and the bright, beautiful color. These cats are like kids, like little 2-year-olds. Anyway. So this is my choice in Bungubox. I was going to exclude the brand since I don't have tons of experience with it, but I remember one, it's a dark blue 4B, I think it was, and I remember a few other samples too. So I felt like, no, this isn't one I'd want to walk away without, so I have to include it. Okay, the next brand is Montblanc. And this was super expensive. Maybe it was my most expensive ink. I can't remember. And this is the Montblanc, the Beatles, Psychedelic Purple. And that's where I said, remember I said that I thought that the TWSBI, I did a whole thing on this, and they are different. But when you get them in a nib, you can kind of really be just as happy, I think, with the TWSBI Royal Purple. At least I can. So, and I'm glad of that because this bottle will be gone one day and I won't be replacing it, I'm sure. It probably won't be around for one thing, but this is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful purple. Yeah, I'm terrible with ink, you can tell. Okay, so next up is Kaweco. And I've tried just about everything in the Kaweco line, but not in bottle form, but in samples. And Kaweco Ruby Red is one that I love. I still love it. And it's great in my pens. In anything like a medium nib even, I've loved this red. And that's so funny because red's coming up a lot more than I would have expected, but that's how it came out. And poor gold and maroon, I guess, got left by the side of the road. But you know, this is dark in a nib. It's brightening up quite a bit on the screen. I wish color would be more accurate, but that's why we have to get samples of these or try it out in a cartridge. But that's my Kaweco pick. And then next up, we're getting toward the end. I know this is long, but next up is Graf von Faber-Castell. And hands down, no deliberation at all, it's Stone Gray. It's my favorite gray, so it would have to be included. And it has a lot of water resistance, and yet it's got a good flow. And it's getting really low, but I have other gray ink. And, you know, I've learned that the point is not to try to ration it, just use it, enjoy it, and then kind of move on to the next bottle. And if it's still being sold when I get through with my other gray ink, then I'll know what to get. Let's see. I did something on the back there. Jet pens versus drum ghouls. Oh, well, I must have got a sale. I paid $25.60. Huh. All right. Oh, that's a big bottle, 75 ml. And this is my favorite bottle style of all time. And yeah, even compared to one of the other ones that's coming up here in a minute. Okay, so the next brand is Vinta. And the choice is Vinta Macopa. I love this. Now, it does have crazy sheen, but what I like it for is activating it with my water brush and writing with it on my CVS caliber especially. It's super flowy, and it's just gorgeous. Yeah, I love it. I did have a little bit of trouble where I had, it clogged up one of my little Moon Man minis, but I'm at almost the bottom of this ink bottle, and I must not have been properly agitating it. It's got heavy sheen, so that's my theory. So, but I'm not going to worry. I do have another bottle, and I need to get on using that because just in case it did settle or change, and you know, it could do that. Okay. Let's see. The next brand is not a brand. It's called. I labeled it Special. So, and it's empty, but I do have a little bottle of it, but I emptied it out of its original bottle, and it is SBRE brown. And this is what, like I was telling you, I couldn't decide whether this was cheating or not because they bottled this ink in the Ackerman bottle, and it was formulated by Diamine. So I'm just taking a loophole on it, and I would pick it because whatever I have left, which isn't all that much, I want to take with me. So I'm creating my own category called Special for it, and it goes with me. So yeah, it's you know, it's that medium warm brown, and it's got a lot of orange, and it's kind of getting distorted with the camera again. But I love this ink, and I didn't really love filling from this bottle, even though it's set up specially to do really well. But I was always afraid I was going to break the bottle, so when I got down like really low, then I put it in another bottle. So anyway, that's my choice for Special. This might be just slightly out of order because I don't know why I did it like this. Okay, then my other category I picked that was sort of cheating was black ink because I already made a choice in Cross Black, but you know, because I didn't choose any other black ink, I'm allowing myself another exception. So Cross Black is my favorite black ink, and I wouldn't want to walk away without a black ink. So if it came down to it, I'd leave the violet because I've got just other purple representation. But for some reason, I'm just in that mood today where why should I limit myself, you know, all that much. So this is my favorite ink. It doesn't have any water resistance, but that helps me because it cleans out of everything, and I tend to make a bloody mess with or a black mess with Noodler's Heart of Darkness. I like Heart of Darkness, but anyway, it's, you know, cleaning it and the mess I can make with it, it's not much fun. So, but this is so. Okay, our last category is Noodlers, and I chose Noodler's Navajo Turquoise. But that's been renamed to Turquoise of the Mesas. Let's see. that I put that on the side so I could try to remember, but my bottle is still, you know, Navajo turquoise, and it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite turquoises, although I really like a Pelikan Pecky too. But that's where, like, I kind of got that loophole because I have so many different brands that I could choose from. And this I really love in my little blue Kaweco. So, wow, it was a lot of fun. Now, I promised we'd go into the ink journal because I wanted to show you, like, kind of the journey. And if you are new or relatively new, you may not have already seen this. This was from January 2021, and these were my 12 favorite inks. So let's see what's still, you know, still there. So KWZ Monarch, Bungubox Lamont, Graf on Faber Castile Stone Gray. Robert Oster Lake of Fire kind of got replaced, I guess, for a blue by that Serenity Blue, maybe. Even though it's maybe not in the same category. Aqua Lagoon is still one of my favorites, but for writing, I have another, you know, the other blues that I like better. The Diamine Oxford Blue. SBRE Brown, still good. I'm almost out of this Straits Pen Honest Ink Bougainvillea Purple, and I kind of moved away from that purple and into these bright, you know, traditional purples. Oh, KWZ Thief's Red. Okay, that got replaced by Pilot Momiji. Not for this per se, because, you know, I could only pick one Pilot, so I picked the pink one, the Azalea. And I still love Thief's Red, and it'll come out more at Christmas. Waterman Tender Purple. Yeah, that had a lot of competition. So I'm now looking at, I'm looking more at Monteverde Purple Rain. I get more shading out of that one. But I had chose both of them then. And Colorverse Gravity Wave. Poor Colorverse Gravity Wave. I wanted to pick two out of Colorverse, but I couldn't think of some kind of way to do that. Okay, Amethyst de Laurel still is. So really only eliminated, well, I say eliminated, but just for the purpose of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 out of, so half. Okay, so let's turn and see what happened in, I don't know what month this was, but this says 2022. Let's see what was right before it. It was about the middle of the year, so it was around June, must be. So now we have, okay, Montblanc Psychedelic Purple. That still shows up here on this brand choice. Colorverse Supernatural. Sailor 50 States, Texas. TWSBI Royal Blue. Fierce Will Press. Ooh, we're seeing everything. Almost everything. Kaweco Ruby Red. Alexander Hamilton. Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties didn't make it because I wanted a nice turquoise there. So, and then, okay, that was like my #1 choice, Pilot Azalea. Vinta Copa still ticking. Sailor Mano Akabe is still one of my favorites, but, you know, there are other choices. And Sailor, I mean, if I had to choose between Sailor 50 States, Texas and Mano, well, it was the brown. I really like that better. Oh, this was one I felt bad about too, because like Sailor Gentle Grenade is one of my favorite inks. In fact, that would have kind of answered the burgundy thing, but then it would have knocked out brown. So what can you do? You know, you realize it's a game that we're playing anyway. So that's what I guess I did. So those are my choices. So that's what did I say? 24, 23 brands and 2 specials, something like that, because I got 25 bottles of ink here, which I need to put away before Coco starts having a feast. But okay, I'm going to move back over to the library just for a minute, and so we can kind of do a wrap-up, I guess. There, so, you know, I was really glad this was a viewer request video as well, but I was already thinking about it. I got it all drawn out in my bullet journal, and, you know, I started adding more and more brands and realizing, ooh, okay, you know, there's a lot. There's really a lot, but it was so much fun. And it gives me a look at where my gaps are in color. I don't actually have complete gaps because they're out there, but they were in similar brands. Like I know there's There's a couple really pretty ones in the Robert Oster line that are gold, or that I call, well, the bronze is not actually gold, but there's another one, and I'm trying to think what that is. I can't think of it right now, but I had it out. In fact, I had some tiles. Let me grab those, because there were some more tiles, a little tiny pile I left over on my desk that were really kind of close calls. So I'm going to go get those. There. Okay, so on top was Diamine Flowers Pansy. And I know that was there because I wanted to point out that, you know, LAMY Dark Lilac 2016 could, you know, you could be happy, I think, with this. It's not the same, but it's really pretty. And in a nib, you can almost get away with it, you know, that it's pretty. Okay, next tile that I had out was Monteverde California Teal. So that's one I wanted to pick, but I had to have my Purple Rain, so, you know, that what can you do? Another one was Parker Green, because I almost did Parker, but I'm only dealing with samples in that. And there was something that kind of stayed in my mind about the Parker Green. I don't know whether this was a vintage one, but it is really pretty. And so that was that was on my mind, I guess. You know, these were the only ones that I pulled out. Okay, then another tile I had pulled out was J. Herbin Emerald of Chivor. I finally have a bottle of this, and yeah, it's got the, what is the shimmer in that anyway? I don't even know. I think it's gold, but anyway, it's a shimmer ink, and it's really, really, really pretty. So, but there's no way that could be chosen by me over the Amethyste de Laurel, but still, I picked it out. Made me look anyway. So, okay, next up was Diamine Aqua Lagoon, and that's a shader, a super shader, really, really, really pretty. And it makes me, want to go right now and ink up a pen, so I'll probably pile these over there with my June contenders, because I've got a little pile of pens and things that I want to think about for June. Okay, next was Sailor Mano Akabe. Another one of my favorites, but, you know, I think I just got done saying that, well, then I wouldn't have the brown, so. And then Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji is a beautiful, well, it's red, but it's also very special. It's got kind of a sheen over it, and it gives it a really special look. Sometimes I look at it and I say, oh, that's not red, that's pink, because the pink comes out in your water, you know, portion of the tile. But I haven't had the bottle for very long, and I definitely, if it's between the two, the Azalea or this one, then the Azalea wins, you know, clearly so far, but who knows, this could in the future. And then Sailor Grenade. Oh, I just love this ink. I'm glad this isn't like, I'm not actually going to another planet, I'm not actually evacuating, because I don't want to go without this one. I like this one, my little Montblanc pen that was gifted to me by a pen friend years ago. And it seems to be the one it lands in every time, so. Okay, and then, Noodler's Rome Burning. Now, this one is a stainer, and it stains everything purple, so. But it's a gold ink, it's a really flowy ink, and if you can get the right paper going, the right nib, it's super pretty anyway. And I love it, even though, you know, it needs a little bit of a warning label there, not to, because that's how I stained my LAMY Vista section, but you live and learn, and didn't take me away from the ink, it just made me want to use a different pen for it, you know, because I didn't want to have my LAMY really looking like that. Oh, and then the other Noodlers that was a contender, I really love Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Roses, and that's looking way too pink, darn it. It's all about the overhead light is a little bit harsh, and you can tell because it's blowing me out even, but very, very, very pretty. And I guess if it hadn't been for needing to choose, you know, I really love the Navajo Turquoise. So for somebody that has so many inks, this is, I knew going in it was impossible, and yet that it's possible. So it was a lot of fun. I really hope that others will do this, because I would like to see and get inspired by some of the brands that I'm not as familiar with, but these are the ones that I've worked with the longest, and you know, I did, like I said, I included a few where I only had one bottle, but not very many. Most of these I tried several, and I tried different color samples across many brands before I bought a bottle. And I never know when to stop when it comes to purple, magenta, pink. You know, there's certain color families that get me every time, and I recognize that I have you know, gone a little nuts, including teal. So, but I think that's the video. I mean, I wrote down here, future, explore newer brands, Warringal, Conklin, Dominant Industries, or Industry, Van Diemen's, and Vinta. I have quite a few samples that I've kind of only begun to explore. So that kind of lit a fire under me for that. They're right here. You know, it's nothing I have to go and get or anything. And then I still have many of the newer Birmingham samples to explore. But wouldn't you know, I'd choose one from the past that, you know, it's kind of not being made. If it's being made, it's not the same purple, is my understanding from what I've seen. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'm not, you know, spamming your YouTube, but I definitely, I've decided to make videos when I have the enthusiasm and things are humming along good, you know, not to hold back just because I've already done one, because I never know, as a guardian and a daughter, you know, when things can kind of change, and I just never know. So I've just decided to just be me and let everybody else be them. And it just doesn't work for me to say, I'm going to put out a video every week or it doesn't work. So I just need to embrace, you know, how I am, I guess. And people can watch when they're ready. That's the beauty of it. They, you know, it's still going to be there. So I will see you in the comments. I bet I'm behind on comments again. I'm working on that. But I enjoy very much the conversations that we have there. Even when I'm not looking for things to purchase, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's amazing the things we can learn from each other. So I'll see you there. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. And see you on the next one. Bye for now.